These videos are made for the purpose of entertainment. These are not made to give you an excuse to harass the original creator. I do not condone the harassment or bullying of the creators featured in these videos.
We're going on a trip in our favorite piece of shit. Doing 95, we're gonna fucking die. Hello everybody, my name is Yuji and welcome back to another video. It's been a while since I've looked at this fanfiction. A few years now. And the last time I read it, I subjected two of my friends to read it with me. John and Muffin. Good times. So I figured since it's been so long and I'm remaking a lot of my older videos, I should reread this fanfiction. And its sequel, It's Baby. There's also a new version of this story, but it only has one chapter that is a paragraph long. So I might read what she has just to see the differences, but who knows? We'll see how long this video ends up being. It's Love was started in 2017 and ended in 2020. This story has 12 chapters total, not counting the author's note and the character bios, and It's Baby and the sequel story has 3 chapters, not counting the character bios. The story revolves around the author's OC and Pennywise the clown, I think, falling in love and having a baby, which, you know, you do you. I am also down bad for a clown, so I can't judge. I just don't like the execution of this story. It's the same issue I have with Queen of Darkness. The canon character is just so far removed from their canon counterpart for no real reason. You might as well have just created an OC and written an original story instead of a fanfiction. But the feeling I get from this story is more the author likes Bill Skarsgård but didn't want to write a story about him. So instead she projected Mr. Skarsgård onto Pennywise because he plays the character in the new movies instead of using Pennywise's full personality. Oh, and one more thing before we start reading. The author really likes to insert pictures in the middle of the story, mostly of outfits and hairstyles, and they take up a good chunk of space, which don't do. If you want to include pictures, they should be at the top of the chapter or the bottom, not in the middle. It breaks immersion and it's annoying. Create collages of images in MS Paint so you don't have to put several hundred pictures throughout the story. I most likely won't be showing any of the pictures, though. You can go to the original story and see them if you want to. But I don't know, I haven't actually edited the little slides that I put in these videos yet. So we'll see if I changed my mind later. Alright, let's get started reading It's Love, the Pennywise XOC story. The description reads, okay, so I watched the new It and I absolutely loved it, and the actor that plays Pennywise is actually pretty cute, so I'm going to make this fanfiction. Discontinued, I'm trying to rewrite it. Warning, there's a scene that hints to sexual assault. It doesn't happen, but it is uncomfortable. So there's your trigger warning, folks. It's been a while since I've read this, so I don't remember if there's canon typical violence or not. Future Yuji, is there canon typical violence, and what chapter is the attempted sexual assault in? So, there's mild mentions of child murder. It's Pennywise. Duh. Some depictions of physical abuse, and the attempted assault scene is in chapter 6. Also, just so everyone knows, I do offer up a possible rewrite option for the assault scene, and I go into more detail about how that could have better played out than the very insulting way it was written in the actual story. Okay, onto the character information. Name, Eleanor Renee Parker. Age 17, for now. Played by Madison McLaughlin. I'm not reading this how it's actually written because the way it's actually written irritates me. The author separated the first, middle, and last name into their own different little sections. Like, just write it all under one section. They don't need their own little spot. I hate it when people do this. It's so unnecessary. Also, I do have an issue with the characters' ages, but I'll get to that when we get to Pennywise. Name, Mia Lillian Milono, age 17, for now, played by Danielle Campbell. Name, Andrew Liam Pennywise, age 17, for now, played by Bill Skarsgård. And here's where I have an issue with the ages. I assume the age for Pennywise, or I guess his human alter ego Andrew, is fake, because Pennywise isn't a teenager. Far from it. Pennywise is a cosmic entity that has been around for literal billions of years, and this is a romance story, one where the main character gets pregnant. Do we see my issue here? She meets Pennywise when she's 17 years old. She's not a mature adult. She does not pass the Harkness test for Pennywise. It just gives me the ick. You could have made them like 20 years old or something. Also, why does Pennywise have a 17-year-old human alter ego? It feels very pointless. It feels like she just couldn't come up with a better way for Pennywise and her OC to meet. Since the author is planning on rewriting this, a better way for them to meet would be Elena is a new teacher at Derry, and she's like 25, 26, and starts noticing the weird shit that's going on and the kids going missing, and she does some investigating herself and ends up finding Pennywise. This is spoilers for later in the story, but she does this because she has powers. Telekinesis and psychic abilities. I think they're called the Shine in the Stephen King universe. But she does that and finds Pennywise, and he ends up not just killing her because she's interesting. Or you could have him find her because he sensed the shine within her, and he starts causing problems and following her around. Boom! You'll have a more age-appropriate relationship, and you've got a reason for them to meet in the first place. Okay, that is it for the character bios. There's not much written about them. The bio feels kind of pointless to have. They're mostly just here to show face claims for each of the characters. Alright, let's get started reading It's Love. We've got 12 chapters to get through, and while they're not very long, I get the feeling I'm going to be opening my big fat mouth every 5 seconds, so buckle up, I think we're going to be here for a while. Chapter 1, New to Derry. My name is Elena Parker, and I am new to Derry, I said, standing up in my first period, that is choir. Well, Elena, welcome to Derry. Now you can sit down and then we can start, the choir teacher, Mrs. Johnson, said. After first period, I went to second period, that is math. I walked upstairs and walked really fast to not be late. I don't know why I had to move in the middle of the school year. I don't even know where my classes are, I said in my mind. I knew I was going to be opening my big fat mouth every 5 seconds. Already, I want to quit. I said in my mind? You mean you thought? You had a thought? You were thinking? I said in my mind. I hate those words, in that order, so much. Also, this is moving fast. The author is giving us nothing at the start of this story. After first period, I went to second period and walked up the stairs really fast so I wouldn't be late. Like, can we get some more details, please? Maybe some more internal thoughts and feelings she has about moving to a new town and starting a new school? Just something more than this basic-ass introduction, and then quickly skipping that class and get right into her looking for her second. Honestly, I think this story should have started with her at home getting ready for her first day, and the way she's feeling about moving and starting a new school, and we can expand more on that as the day continues for her. I hate it when the very start of stories skip over things when we could be getting character development. Like, come on. Suddenly I bump into someone and drop all of my books on the floor. Oh, I'm sorry, I said, bending down and getting my books. Oh, don't worry, I should have watched where I was going, the person that I bumped into said. I looked up and saw a boy with dark brown hair and green eyes. He handed my books to me and we both stood up. Thanks, I said, smiling. You're welcome, he said. My name is Elena Parker, I said. You are the new girl, he said. Wow, news travels fast around here, I said, giggling a little bit. Yeah, I guess. My name is Andrew Pennywise, Andrew said, smiling a little bit. Well, I need to go to class, so I will see you around, I said, walking past him. Yeah, see you around, Andrew said softly and walked away. Time skip. Don't time skip me. Okay, so our two main characters have met. And yeah, I can tell that every part of the story is being rushed just to get to the romance sections. There's no development, no plot, just filler until we get to the parts the author actually wants to write. Which, in that case, why not just write a series of one-shots of interactions you want these characters to have? There was no real need to write a chaptered story with the smallest little drop of plot. School is finally over, and I started walking home. I heard a car behind me and I saw Andrew. I stopped and looked at him. He rolled down the window. "Hey, do you need a ride?" he asked. "Oh, no, I'm fine," I said. "Are you sure?" he asked. I sighed and got into the car. Why would you do that? No is a complete sentence. I gave him the directions, and after a couple of minutes, we were at my house. I got out of his car. "Thanks for the ride, Andrew," I said. "You're welcome," he said. We both said our goodbyes, and I walked into my house quickly. When shut the door behind me, I turned around and saw my dad in front of me. "What are you doing with a boy?" he said angrily. "He just drove me home, that's all," I said softly and quietly. I was about to walk past him, but he grabbed my wrist and pulled me back hard and banged my head on the front door. "Don't you dare walk past me," he said angrily, and was about to hit me, but I quickly opened the door and ran out of the house. Abusive parent trope has been added. Check that off the bingo card. See, this is the kind of stuff we could use development on at the start of the story. Before school and before she meets Pennywise, we can't just add in an abusive parent for shits and giggles, people. We gotta have backstory and plot. It's like adding rape into a story just 'cause. If it's not needed for the plot, don't add it in. We'll see how much of an impact this dad has on the story. And if he's just here for no reason, I'll be back with some words. I ran down the street, and when I got pretty far, I stopped to catch my breath. I began to walk a little farther and saw a park. I sat down on a swing and barely swinging back and forth. I suddenly stopped and put my head in my hands and began crying. "What's wrong?" I heard someone say in front of me. I looked up and saw Andrew. "Oh, it's nothing. Don't worry about it," I said quietly and wiping the tears of my face. "If it was nothing, then you wouldn't be crying," Andrew said, sitting on a different swing next to me. "It's complicated, and I don't really want to talk about it," I said, sighing. "Okay then, if you don't want to talk about it, do you want to get something to eat with me?" Andrew asked, a little bit nervous. "Are you asking me on a date?" I asked him, smirking, when I see him blushing a little bit. "If you want to think of it that way, then I guess it is." "Sure, I would love to," I said, getting up. Oh, so the dad was here as a plot device rather than having actual meaning. He only existed to get Elena to run out of the house to be able to interact with Pennywise outside of school. I'm probably just jumping the gun here, but it really does feel like Elena's dad was just used to get her out of the house and be crying so Pennywise would have an excuse to interact with her. Tim skip. Stop time skipping me! After we ate, he took me back to my house. I looked out of the window and sighed. "It's now or never," I said in my mind. Does the word thought just not exist in your vocabulary? Also, I cannot believe you skipped them having dinner together. You missed a great opportunity to have them interact and actually start developing a relationship. "Thank you," I said to Andrew and got out of the car and walked to my front door. I opened the door slowly and quietly. I walked in and shut the door behind me. I walked to the living room and saw my dad in the armchair sleeping with the TV on. I sighed softly and went up to my room and changed into my pajamas and crawled into bed. I let one tear fall down my cheek and closed my eyes. Soon enough, I fell asleep hoping tomorrow will be a better day. Oh, the abusive parent trope is also here to give our main character a sad backstory for sympathy points. You can tell this was written by someone who knows nothing about how abuse works. When you have an abusive parent, there's a few different ways that affects the person being abused. So, in the case of a child being abused by a parent, in my personal experience as someone who was heavily abused by both of her parents, I did everything in my power to not make my abusers mad. Whether that's doing everything they want and more in an attempt to make them happy, or did my best to shrink into the background, didn't interact with them, and tried to make them forget I existed. Which doesn't work! It never fucking works. You just stress yourself out and make yourself anxious walking on eggshells. And it doesn't matter because the abuser will always find something to bitch about. And I mean, always. I once got a dishwasher thrown at me because I didn't load the dishwasher right. It wasn't one of the ones that was installed into the kitchen, it was a portable one that hooked up to the sink. Then another time when I was forced to re-clean the kitchen 7 times from top to bottom because I didn't do it right the first time. Which is still bullshit. I am a fantastic cleaner and I always have been. Personally, I also ended up sneaking out at night a lot so I could have space and room to be myself without risk of getting screamed at for being too happy. And I think how I personally experienced abuse and how it affected me would work really well for Elena. From the little bit of information I have from this one chapter, she seems very withdrawn, but easily gives in to requests or demands. Her getting into Pennywise's car after only being asked twice if she wanted a ride. In an attempt to be polite and not risk upsetting whoever it is she's talking to. And when her father confronted her, she bolted. The point is, she just kind of threw it in here as an attempt to move her plot along, instead of using it to give her character development, and it have an actual impact on the story. Chapter 2, Old Friend. Author's note. Okay, before I do this chapter, I'm going to put flip phones that look like these, even though it is in the 1980s in this remake, but I don't care. If you don't care enough about the plot and setting of the original story, then why did you bother writing a fanfiction of it when you could have written your own original story? It would not have been hard to just create a creature that's based off Pennywise and have your story set in the 2000s. It's been a couple of weeks and I've been hanging out with Andrew more often. He is really nice, but people around here is scared of him. I got out of bed and groggily went to my bathroom and turned on the shower. I took off my clothes and went into the shower. I slightly smiled as the warm water went down my body and soothed my bruises. After I washed my hair and body, I got out of the shower and dried off. I got dressed in a red maroon long-sleeve sweater dress and black leggings and black short boots. I brushed my hair and put in 2 French braids. Seriously, what is it with these types of stories and always writing out the character's shower scene and them getting dressed? I swear, it happens every time in these poorly written fanfictions. Is it because they actually know how to write out someone taking a shower but aren't sure how to apply that level of detail to the rest of the story? Or is it a fetish thing? I seriously don't know, but I'm about to make a bad story bingo card and have this be an option. Author writes out character taking a shower/bath. It's that common. Can we please stop writing out the shower stuff unless you were trying to write a sexy shower scene? Please? I'm tired of this, Grandpa! I went out of my room and got my phone and called Andrew. Hello? Andrew said all sleepily. Hey, do you want to have breakfast with me? I asked nervously, because I didn't want him to say no. Sorry, I can't. I'm going to be busy all day, he said with a hint of sadness in his voice. Oh, okay then. Bye, I said sadly and hung up quickly. I sighed and walked to a coffee shop that normally Andrew and I go to. I opened the door and walked up to order. After I ordered, I got my coffee and I saw a girl with dark brown hair and dark brown eyes that I recognized. Another thing with these stories is they skip over everything. Like, what do you mean it's been weeks? What do you mean you frequent a coffee shop with Pennywise? Like, that's stuff I would have liked to read about. You don't have to write out every single interaction the characters have, but you gotta give us something. Not just 1 or 2 interactions with a million time skips and then suddenly they're married and have kids. That's ridiculous. And it makes for a very boring read. Then it clicked in my head. Mia Milono, long time no see, I said behind her. She turned around and smiled. Elena, Mia said, and hugging me tightly. I missed you so much, she said, smiling softly, and released. And we both sat down. I missed you too, I said. So, why are you here? I asked her. Oh, I'm visiting my grandparents, she said. So, how has it been? Do you have any friends? Have you met a boy? Do you like a boy? She said all excitedly. Okay, calm down. I do have some friends, but not many. I do know a boy, and no, I don't like the boy. He is just a friend, I said, blushing a little at the last 2. That's not how real people talk. Even if these two haven't seen each other for a while and Mia is an excitable person, this rapid fire question thing just isn't how people talk to each other. It was just an excuse to have our main character admit she likes Pennywise, which we could have had through a normal conversation. Maybe I'm just being picky, but I don't care, I'm gonna be picky. For some reason, I don't really believe you on that last one, she said, smirking evilly. Okay, maybe I like him a little bit, but we are just friends, I said, rolling my eyes. Whatever, do you have a picture of him? She asked. Yeah, I said, going on my phone and trying to find a picture of him. When I finally found one, I showed it to her. Oh wow, he's cute, Mia said, smirking. Mia, I don't like him like that, I said, glaring at her playfully. But you literally just said, okay, I kind of like him a little bit, but we are just friends. You can't contradict yourself like this in this story. Jesus. Hey, I didn't say anything, she said. Yeah, well, I know you and you will, I said, laughing a little bit. Yada yada, ya, whatever, she said, rolling her eyes. Well, I'm going to go. Bye, I said, smiling. Okay, bye, see you later, she said as I stand up and walked out of the coffee shop and walked down the street. I went home and lay down on my bed sighing, thinking about Andrew, trying to convince myself that I don't like him in any way except as a friend, but keep on failing. I forgot how short these chapters were. It's ridiculous. Like, there's nothing really interesting to read here, and we're only on chapter 2. You gotta do something to draw your readers in and keep them interested in this story. The concept alone isn't enough to keep people reading. You gotta interest us. The only reason I'm reading this story all the way through is because it's basically my damn job to review and talk about things I find. If this wasn't what I did for money, I'd never touch this story. I'd read the description and leave immediately. That's how uninteresting this is. Chapter 3. What are you? It's been a couple of days and I haven't seen Andrew. I try to call him, but he doesn't pick up and I haven't seen him at school. I went to school and it seemed forever until the day was over. I tried to call Andrew again, but he still didn't answer, and I couldn't take it anymore. I walked to his house and knocked on his door. After a couple of minutes, I just gave up and began to walk away, but the door opened. I turned around and walked into the house. Hello? Andrew, are you here? I said, and then suddenly the door slammed behind me. I turned and saw someone dressed up as a clown. What are you doing here, Elena? The person asked in the dark, so I can only see a little bit of the person. Yeah, see, this would have been better had the author created an original character that's just based off Pennywise, rather than using Pennywise for the story. She's treating Pennywise like it's a person that can transform into a clown monster, which isn't what Pennywise is. It's an ancient alien entity. The reason it changes into a clown is because that's the easiest way to lure in and capture prey, which is mostly children. But Pennywise isn't just a clown. It's specifically called a deadlight. It can morph into any animal, person, or object. Hell, Pennywise isn't even technically a he. Pennywise's true form is a female spider creature. Aw man, you could have made a queer romance story. I'm jotting that idea down for later. That's mine now. You can really tell that the author just really likes Bill Skarsgård and not necessarily Pennywise. She's just using the It story to play out this fantasy of dating and getting married to Mr. Skarsgård. Andrew, is that you? I asked. Yes, but why are you here? He said, a little bit annoyed. I was just worried about you. You haven't answered my calls or gone to school, I said sadly. I've been busy, he said. Doing what? I asked. Then he stepped out of the shadows and revealed a clown with red hair. Suddenly, he changed back to his normal self. What are you? I asked, walking closer to him. A shapeshifter, but a different kind, he said, looking down. What do you mean? I asked. Okay, I know she's not fully human either. She's got powers, but she is ridiculously calm about Pennywise just shape-shifting back into Andrew. Especially since Pennywise looks so fucking weird, bro, and he's like 8 feet tall. This just makes me want to rewatch that movie. It's been a while, and it was pretty good. You know what a shapeshifter is? He asked, and I nodded. Well, I am one, but a different type. I have to feed every 27 years to survive to keep myself young, he said. What do you eat? I asked. Humans. But I don't like to do it, and it is hard to control. It gets worse when someone is scared, he said. So you're the one that's been killing the kids and some of the adults, I asked. Yes, he said, with tears going down his face. I hate doing it, but I have to, and turning into a clown is easier than anything else, he said. You probably hate me now, he said sadly. I cannot take this seriously, but let's try and roll with the author is trying to write. Okay, so what we could have done for some interesting interactions and drama and a cool little action sequence is Elena hasn't seen or heard from Andrew in a while, so obviously she goes to his place to check on him. Pennywise's powers work in some weird-ass ways, so she goes in, and the place is completely run down now, like it is in the movie, and she's confused as hell and starts to get scared. She's walking around calling for Andrew, when suddenly Pennywise drops behind her. She screams and backs away a bit, calling out to Andrew with more of a questioning tone to her voice, and Pennywise screams and lunges at her. She screams and bolts, and the chase is on. She scrambles up the stairs. Pennywise is hot on her tail, but he's crashing into walls. It seems to be really disoriented and desperate, so he's not super agile or fast. She manages to get away from him for a second and lock herself in a room. He's smashing against the door, and she looks around for a weapon. She grabs a piece of wood just as Pennywise breaks the door down and lunges for her again, and she smacks him hard in the head. He stumbles back and starts to twitch violently and shake his head. He stops, breathing heavily, and snaps his head to look at Elena, who's standing there, ready to strike again if he lunges. But he doesn't. He says her name, his voice cracking. He starts to shapeshift back into Andrew, and she drops the weapon she has as she's watching this happen, and when he's back to normal again, he just asks, "What are you doing here?" Then we can have this whole little scene of her asking what the fuck that was, and he explains that he's a shapeshifter and he has to feed on people to survive, but it's not something he enjoys. He was gone because he was trying to fight his urges to feed, but he snapped when he smelt her fear. He's been actively starving himself, trying not to feed, but it never really goes in his favor because he always ends up killing someone, especially children, because of how easily they get scared of anything and everything. Ta-da! You could also very easily use this for an original character instead of Pennywise. A shapeshifter that can't really survive on human food and has to eat people to live. They don't like it at all, but cannot fight off their instincts, especially when faced with the smell of fear. It's like a drug and just makes them lose it, and before they know it, they've killed like several people. I don't hate you, Andrew, I said, putting my hand on his cheek. Just promise me one thing, I said softly. Promise me that you won't kill any more children or anyone else. Just kill the adults that deserve to die, I said. I promise, he said softly. Everyone is different in their own way. Even I am, I said softly. You're not different at all, he said softly. Trust me, I am, I said, taking my hand off his cheek and swinging my hand, and different things just went flying around the room. What are you? Andrew asked. There's a small problem with that, I said, sighing. I have no idea. Huh, great, he said, laughing slightly. I smiled and sighed. Do you want to go somewhere? I asked him. Yeah, sure, he said. We went out of his house and went to the coffee shop. After all of that, both went home and went to bed. I cannot believe you just glossed over her powers like that, and glossed over them going out to get coffee. You irritate me. Oh, you know what? You could have also hinted at her powers when she's getting chased down by Pennywise in my little rewrite thingy I just did. When she's scrambling up the stairs trying to get away, he gets really close to her and reaches out to grab her, and she turns to look and throws her arm out to seemingly block his arm, only for him to slip and fall down the stairs. In reality, she had used her powers just enough to push his legs back a bit, which caused him to fall. You could have little things like that to kind of hint at her powers until the full reveal of them. God, I'm a genius. Chapter 4. Maybe More Than Friends. After we both now know what we are, we got even closer. I helped him control his hunger, and he helped me control my magic when I got mad. You know, if she has powers that get out of control when she's upset, you'd think she'd have used them on her father once or twice. Oh, you want to know what you could do? Have it so the reason her powers are so out of control is because she's been suppressing them. She's purposefully hiding them because her father saw her use them one time when she was a kid and freaked out on her and beat her for not being normal. So now she tries her best to be normal for him, which doesn't work, and he still abuses her because he knows whether she uses her powers or not, right? This could also lead up to her having enough and using her powers on him and maybe even accidentally killing him. And Pennywise shows up and deals with the body for her. It is a horror movie, so this could really fit in very well with the horror themes it has. Hey, Elena, are you listening? Mia asked while she was trying to show me something. Oh, sorry, what were you saying? I asked. Mia just sighed and rolled her eyes, and then she had a smirk. What's the smirk for? I asked. You're thinking about Andrew, aren't you? Mia asked. No, I said, taking a sip of my tea from the restaurant. I'm sure she is. How can anybody not think about me? I'm awesome, Andrew said behind me. I looked up and rolled my eyes. Oh, shut it, Andrew. He sat down across from me next to Mia and winked at me. I really ship you two, Mia said, smiling. I choked on my food and covered my hand over my mouth. Oh my god, Mia, no, I said loudly. Oh, please, I bet you two already kissed, Mia said, smirking. No, we haven't, and we probably won't. Plus, we are just friends, I said, rolling my eyes. Well, you never know. I might actually will, Andrew said. I looked at him, shocked. What does that supposed to mean? I asked confusedly. It means this, Andrew said, leaning over the table and kissed me. Great build-up. Really giggling and kicking my feet here. Seriously, this is just bad. We've had no relationship development for these two. Just massive time skips, and suddenly these two are super close and he's kissing her out of the blue? It's very hard to believe when the only real interaction we have seen between Pennywise and Elena is them meeting for the first time. And I guess the whole finding out he's a shapeshifter chapter, but come on, we need more than 2 whole interactions. He stopped and smirked while getting up and walking out of the restaurant. Oh yeah, just friends, Mia said sarcastically and rolling her eyes. Whatever, let's go and pay, I said, getting up. After we paid, I went home and opened the door. I sighed as I looked to see my dad with an empty beer bottle in his hand sleeping on the couch with the TV on. I walked to the TV and turned it off. I turned around and walked to my room. I checked the time and saw it was 9 at night. I put a pajama shirt that had a bunny on it and matching pajama shorts. I grabbed on my phone and laid on my bed. I decided to text Mia. Me, hi, what you doing? Mia, hi, and nothing. Me, I'm bored. Mia, well, we could talk about a certain person. Me, who? Mia, Andrew. Me, okay, all I'm going to tell you is that I kinda do like him more than a friend, but I'm not sure if he does. Mia, well, he did kiss you. Me, he could have just messing with me. Mia, or maybe you guys are more than friends. Me, maybe, but I'm not sure. I looked at the time and saw it was 10. Me, hey, I'm going to go to bed. Good night. Mia, okay, good night. I plugged my phone and pulled my covers over my head and fell asleep. For what we got, that weird little time skip from 9 to 10 is so unrealistic. That whole conversation should have taken like maybe 2-3 minutes max to text back and forth, unless you are clicking one little key at a time. I guess this is a flip phone, so you have to press the button multiple times to get the letter you want, but having had to do that as a kid, you get real quick at texting like that. So still unrealistic time frame. Like, what do you mean it went from 9 to 10? In like that short ass conversation. Unrealistic. And it was the most uneventful conversation ever. And I really hate but he could have just been messing with me bullshit. Maybe had we gotten some scenes of him openly teasing her but never actually doing anything and pretending like everything's normal, I could maybe believe that she just thinks he wasn't being serious about the kiss and was just fucking with her like he always did, just taking it a step up. But no, again, we've gotten basically zero interactions with these two, so this is just annoying. It's just artificial drama, if you can even call it drama. It gets resolved in the next chapter. I read ahead a bit as I was scripting this. But you could have had drama. Everyone loves a bit of drama in their romance story. It's frustratingly good. Chapter 5. Tell me the truth. I woke up at 2 a.m. because of a noise. I sat up and looked out my window and saw Andrew. I opened my window. "What the hell are you doing?" I yelled. If anyone woke me up at 2 a.m. and climbed in through my window, they would be getting stabbed. Unless it's an emergency. It can wait till morning. Begone, thought! "Let me in," Andrew said, climbing up and moving out of the way so he could get in. "You are a dumbass," I said, crossing my arms. "Cute pajamas," he said, smirking. "Oh, shut it," I said, rolling my eyes. "Why are you here?" I asked. "I wanted to talk to you," he said nervously. "Okay. About what?" I asked. "About the kiss," it said uncomfortably. Yeah, about that. Why did you kiss me?" I asked, sitting down. "I, might like you more of a friend," he said. He sits down next to me. "Tell me the truth," I said, looking down. "Truth about what?" he asked. "Avoid everything. Don't lie about anything. Please," I said the last part quietly. That doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense, right? Tell me the truth followed by avoid everything doesn't make sense. Did you mean don't avoid everything? 'Cause that would make sense. "I've always liked you. When we first bumped into each other and when I gave you a ride and everything else after that," he said, and I looked up at him. "I've never told anyone about my secret, and you helped me through it instead of pushing me away," Andrew said. "I love you, Elena Renee Parker," Andrew said, moving closer to me and kissed me softly. I kissed him back and we broke apart. "I love you too, Andrew Liam Pennywise," I said, smiling. This speedrun romance crap is really starting to get on my nerves. Can y'all please stop turning what should have been a one-shot into chaptered stories? I guess you could have also written like a novella. Those tend to be pretty short, but they've still got enough details in them to justify writing a story and having it be multiple chapters. He kissed me quickly and went to the window and climbed down and walked away. I sighed and smiled happily. I got my phone and started to text Mia. "Hey, are you awake?" Mia, "Now I am." Me, "Guess what happened?" Mia, "What? This better be good." Me, "Andrew and I are dating." Mia, "OMG, OMG, 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 OMG. That's a lot of OMGs. Me, "Okay, good night." Mia, "OMG, good night." I laughed at Mia and fell back asleep. Why is it that so many fanfic writers treat their fanfics like they're races? I'm not expecting, 7 books in a movie, but I would like more than 328 words for a single chapter. Chapter 6. Prom. I woke up and got ready for school. I put on a light blue lace shirt and white jeans. I brushed my hair and left it down. I did all of my bathroom things and got my backpack and went to school. "Hey, Elena," Mia said, walking with me. "Hi," I said. "So, you and Andrew?" she asked. "Yup," someone said behind me, and I stopped walking and turned around and saw Andrew. He kissed me on the lips and walked off. I just stood there, shaking my head. "You two are so cute," Mia said, walking off to her class. Time skip to lunch. I hate these time skips so much. I don't even have anything insightful or helpful to say. I'm just so tired. These chapters are so short, I could barely find a spot to input some thoughts other than, what the fuck is happening? Why is this going so fast? Why are you mischaracterizing Pennywise so badly? I sat down by Andrew and ate my lunch. "Hey, Elena, are you thinking of going to prom tomorrow?" Andrew asked. "I don't know," I said, shrugging. "Well, I was thinking that it could go with me if you want," he asked nervously. I giggled and kissed his cheek. "I would love to go with you," I said, giggling, and he just blushed. Time skip to later on that day. Another one? Are you serious? That's it. You are banned from using time skips. Banned, I say. "Oh, how about this dress?" Mia said. "That is very beautiful," I said, looking at the dark red dress with a ribbon around the waist that is tied in a bow. "Here, try it on," Mia said. Okay, I said, and tried it on, and it fit perfectly. I smiled and paid for the dress and went home. Time skip to prom. You don't know me, but I will find you, and I will hit you with a dead sunfish. I got out of the car that Mia and I drove together to get here, and I saw Andrew in a suit with a black suit, black jacket, or whatever it's called, and black slacks. I looked up and down and smiled. You look really handsome, I said, giggling. He just smiled, blushing, and he kissed the top of my head. You look very beautiful, he said. Well, thank you, I said, smiling. We took pictures and danced. We ate and did everything that we were supposed to do at a prom. Andrew drove me home, and I turned to him and kissed him. I really enjoyed it, I said, smiling. I'm glad you did, he said, kissing me again. I got out of the car and went to my door and opened it and closed it behind me, smiling. I turned around and fell down because of how hard my dad slapped me. I got up quickly and ran into my room, locking it behind me. I took off my clothes quickly and changed them into comfortable ones and hid. My door got busted down and my dad walked to me and beat me and tried to do something that he never did before, but he didn't because he got called into work because of an emergency. I got my phone and called Andrew when my dad left. Oh, hey, look, guys, the dad finally made a proper appearance again. And excuse me, what? No, we cannot just throw something like that in here with so little care. This is insulting and, quite frankly, disgusting on your part. Unless it is an important part of your story and your character, you do not need a rape scene or an attempted one. There was no fucking reason for any of this to happen at all. The dad is just here and abusive because, ooh woo, feel bad for my OC. She's abused by her father and he almost raped her. No! Absolutely fucking not. Oh my god, I am actually fucking fuming right now. If you really wanted this kind of scene in your story, you have to have reason and meaning. You can't just throw it in here. Like, what the hell is wrong with you? I am not against having bad things like this in a story. I'm just against throwing bad things in a story just 'cause, or to attempt to give your character pity points. It's disrespectful as fuck. If you wanted to make this work, what you should have done is actually develop the relationship between Elena and her father. I'm going to write up how this whole situation could have gone instead. If you don't want to listen to it, then skip ahead, because I do explain and suggest some things that are really uncomfortable for me to even write. But a part of me feels the need to offer up a way for the scene to work and not have it be so disrespectful. Okay, maybe instead of having it that he abuses her because of her powers, like I suggested earlier, he abuses her because her mom died during childbirth or left him or something, and Elena looks just like her mom, so the dad abuses her because of that, but is also attracted to her. Saying that alone makes me feel sick as fuck, and I don't know of a better way to word that, but it happens. Some people are just sick in the head, and if their child looks like their deceased or absent partner, that can lead to some unsavory things. I unfortunately have personal experience in this department, so I should know. Have it that the dad acts out a lot when she shows interests in other guys. Have subtle hints at his gross as fuck desire for her, describing him looking at her too long or staring at her in specific places. His actions and attitude get worse the more she hangs out with Pennywise and gets seen with him as he's dropping her off at home after prom and they kiss. Then she goes into the house thinking her dad's asleep, only to be grabbed by her hair and drug up the stairs. He's clearly drunk off his ass, slurring his words, screaming at her for being a dumb fucking whore, and babbling about how she disrespects him when he's done nothing but take care of her. He throws her into her room and she starts fighting back, screaming, kicking, trying to get away, and he's punching her and he starts tearing clothes off, saying something along the lines of, "If you want to be a whore, fine, I'll fucking treat you like one." And finally she snaps. Screaming, she shoves her arms out in front of her and her father's body goes flying back. But it doesn't stop there. His body starts twisting, bones breaking, and there's blood everywhere. Elena is still screaming, arms held out in front of her, still focusing her power on her father. But things are still flying around the room from her powers going haywire from the adrenaline. Finally, she stops screaming and drops her arms. Her father's body drops to the ground, and so does the objects that were flying around the room. Other than her heavy breathing, it's dead silent. After a few seconds of her staring at her father's body, she starts to break down and sob. Through her hyperventilating and tears, she manages to grab her phone and call Pennywise. Sorry to everyone, I made horrifically uncomfortable with my rewrite thing going on here. I made myself horrifically uncomfortable, and now I need to go watch cartoons. But you feel that uncomfortable, tight feeling in your chest? The horror you feel after having imagined this scene play out? That is how something like that should make you feel. Horror, disgust, and rage at the perpetrator and the need for justice, and feeling relief that he's now dead, but grief for the main character having to had just endure that. These are the feelings you want to invoke. If your intention is not to invoke those feelings into your audience and to not have a significant point of character development and plot in your story, then don't include abuse or sexual assault in your story. It's not fucking needed. This isn't just some cute, fun shit you could throw in your story for shits and giggles. It's serious, even if it's fiction. Writing abuse in such a flippant way is disrespectful to real victims. Do better. Well, that was dark. Hopefully the rest of these chapters don't have anything as dark as this, so I don't have to go on a verbal rampage again. Chapter 7. Protect Me. After my dad left, I called Andrew. I'm not going to do the stuttering. Hey, can you come and get me? I said, crying into the phone. What happened? Andrew asked. Just please and come get me. I will tell you then, I said. Okay, I will be there in a couple of minutes, Andrew said, and he hung up. After a couple of minutes, I heard a knock on the door, and I walked to it and saw Andrew. I immediately hugged him and cried into his chest. Hey, what happened? He said softly. Can I sleep at your house tonight? I asked, crying. Yeah, come on, he said, and we got into the car and drove off. We stopped at a decent-sized house and walked in. Do you live alone? I asked. Yeah, he said sadly. Come on, he said, showing me to his room. So, what happened? He asked, sitting on his bed. I took off my jacket that I changed into a while ago, and it showed all of the bruises. He stood up and walked to me. I didn't see these earlier, he said sadly. I hid them with an illusion, I said softly. When could you create illusions? We can't just be adding in random powers when it suits us, guys. God, I hate it when people add in shit for plot convenience. Who did this to you? He asked. My dad. He had been doing this since my mom left us when I was 8. I hid all of these, and he is smart when he does all of this, I said with tears streaming down my face. He doesn't cut me because it will leave a scar, and tonight he did something that he never tried to do, and I just can't take it anymore. I said, bawling now, and Andrew hugged me. What did he do? He asked. He tried to rape me, but he got a call before he did anything else, and when he left, I called you, I said. He just sighed and kissed the top of my head. Oh, another thing. Had the warning not been at the start of the story, I would have no idea the scene in the last chapter was supposed to be an attempted sexual assault scene. Shared it with my Discord server too, and the people who saw weren't sure what the scene was supposed to be implying. Because your mind doesn't necessarily go straight to sexual assault when you just say he tried to do something he never did before. That could mean a million different things. Okay, come on. Let's get you changed out of your clothes, he said, grabbing some of his clothes and handing it to me. Thanks, I said, and he nodded. The bathroom is over there, he said. I walked over to it and changed. I got out and he was lying on the bed. Come on, he said, and I laid next to him. I put my head on his chest. Hey, Andrew, I said. Yeah, he said. Will you protect me? I asked. Yes, I will always, he said softly and kissed the top of my head, and we then both fell asleep. After a couple of months, I told the police everything and I lived with Andrew. Are you fucking kidding me? That's your resolution to this? Girl, you are making me mad. Yes, ideally, you go to the police and they deal with the abuser, but that is not how that plays out a lot of the time. And why didn't Pennywise use this opportunity to feed? Because Elena wants him to only feed off bad people. Her father is a bad person and he deserves it. We could have had a very satisfying revenge scene, but no, we get, and then it was all okay again. Bullshit. Chapter 8. Graduation. It's been a couple of months and it's finally graduation and I couldn't be happier. So we get nothing. No dealing with the trauma, adjusting to life living with Pennywise, being scared your father is going to come back. No, just everything is okay and none of the trauma you endured has affected you in any way. Cool. Andrew and I woke up and got dressed. I changed into a pale pink dress and white flats and went to school with Andrew. I saw Mia and ran to her and hugged her. She was wearing a pale orange dress and white flats. I'm so happy that this is graduation, she said. Yeah, me too, I said, smiling. Andrew came behind me and wrapped his arms around me and hugged me tightly. So, Andrew, did you get the thing? Mia asked. Yeah, I did, he said, smiling. What thing? I asked. Oh, you will find out later, Mia said, smirking. Well, got to go. Bye, she said, walking away. I looked up at Andrew and kissed him. Let's go. Don't want to be late, I said, and we walking into the school. Time skip. Why do I even bother? It was time for graduation, and they are now calling up people. Mia Lillian Milono, the person called to her, and she stood up and took the scroll and shook hands. I don't really know what to do. She then walked off the stage smiling. You don't know how graduations go? So this was written before you graduated high school. Okay. And you couldn't have looked up graduation videos? People post those all the time. Hell, I'm pretty sure my own graduation is posted on the internet somewhere. After a while, it finally came to me. Elena Renee Parker. I did the same thing as Mia and walked off smiling too. Soon enough, Andrew got called up. Andrew Liam Pennywise. He did the same thing and walked off smiling, barely smiling. Walked off smiling, barely smiling. What is that supposed to mean? After all of the things after the graduation, we went to a restaurant and sat down and ordered. We all ordered pasta and ate. After we paid, I got up and was about to walk off. Andrew stopped me and got out a little box and kneeled down. He opened it and... haha, cliffhanger. You are banned from cliffhangers and time skips! Chapter 9. Proposal. After all the things after the graduation, we went to a restaurant and sat down and ordered. We all ordered pasta and ate. After we paid, I got up and was about to walk off. Andrew stopped me and got out a little box and kneeled down. He opened it and there was a beautiful ring. I have always loved you since when I first met you. Will you marry me? Andrew said. I felt a tear going down my cheek and I nodded my head, smiling big. Yes, I said, sobbing now. He got back up and kissed me. We stopped and turned around and heard Mia squealing like a fangirl. After a minute of Andrew and I staring at Mia, she finally stopped and hugged us both. Yay, my favorite couple are getting married, she said happily. Time skip. We got home after Mia rambling on and on about the wedding and how she is going to help plan it and other things. We changed into pajamas and laid down. I love you, Andrew, I said sleepily. I love you too, future Mrs. Pennywise, Andrew said, and soon enough we both fell asleep. This could have been in chapter 8! There was no need to write a new chapter. Why are you doing this to me? This chapter was 196 words long. 196 words. This would have been a nice scene had we had any actual relationship development between these two. Chapter 10. I will always love you. Oh hey, we're almost done. After this, we'll have 2 more chapters of It's Love, and then we have to read the 3 chapters for It's Baby. Okay, so we have everything planned except flowers, Mia said. How about white roses? They are my favorite, I said. That will be perfect, someone said behind me. I turned to my right and saw Andrew, and he kissed my cheek. I giggled as he took my drink and took a sip of it. Okay then, white roses, Mia said, writing it down. Well, we better get going. Come on, Elena, it's almost time for the party, she said, standing up after paying. Okay, bye, Andrew, I said and kissed him on the cheek and stood up walking out of the restaurant with Mia. You know, something that's also kind of bothering me is the lack of cute nicknames. These two are supposed to be in a relationship, like they're getting married, but they still only call each other Elena and Andrew? No, my love, my darling, honey, nothing? Time skip. I arrived at Mia's place and set down my bag on her couch. Please tell me that we're not going to do a big party with a bunch of people that we barely know, I said, sitting down. Well, watching Netflix, eating junk food, and drinking coffee and tea is going to be the big party? Then yes, we are, Mia said, walking in with her pajamas on with junk food and drinks in her hand. I smiled and laughed at her. Get up and go change into pajamas quickly, because we are going to do a marathon of raising hope, Mia said, setting all the stuff down and walking back into the kitchen to grab more stuff. I grabbed my pajamas and changed in the bathroom. I walked out and sat next to Mia, and she turned on the TV and went to Netflix and pressed on Raising Hope. Time skip. Seriously, what's the point of writing a story if you're going to have this many time skips? I'm going to have a total at the end of this story. The next day, we both woke up and took a shower. I put on leggings and a baggy shirt. Mia and I drove to the church and got ready. I did my makeup and my hair. I did my eyeliner and mascara and put on a light eyeshadow and classic red lipstick and left my hair down. Mia did her hair and makeup after me. She put on eyeliner and mascara and put on a light shadow and a light pink lipstick and left her hair down too. Mia put on her bridesmaid dress that was peach-colored long dress. After she changed, I changed into mine. I looked into the mirror. You look beautiful, Elena, Mia said behind me. Thanks, I said softly, smiling. Time skip. I walked down the aisle, afraid of tripping, and surprisingly I didn't, and stood where I was supposed to stand. After all of the things the preacher said, soon enough we finally kissed. I will always love you, Andrew Liam Pennywise, I said with our foreheads touching. I will always love you, Elena Renee Pennywise. Out of all the scenes to just gloss over, I did not expect you to gloss over their wedding. Also, I really hate Pennywise as a last name. I've been trying to ignore it, but I can't anymore. It's so bad. Especially since Pennywise is the name of the clown persona. It's not Pennywise's actual name. Oh, you know what you could have done? So this version of Pennywise has taken the form of a human and lives in the human world, right? Well, Pennywise doesn't exactly age like humans do and has been alive for hundreds of thousands of years. So what if, after he kills someone, he takes their place and basically lives their life, shape-shifting to appear older and older until he dies and starts the cycle all over again? That way you don't have to use Pennywise for his last name because he'll just take the name of the person he replaced. Oh, that's good. I'm taking that for something. Chapter 11. You Promised Me. We went on our honeymoon and now we finally came back. Even skipped over their honeymoon. Like, what even was this story supposed to be about? There's hardly any story to piece together a genre or theme. It's just here. I woke up and ran to the bathroom and threw up in the toilet. Hey, are you okay? Andrew asked from behind me. Yeah, I said, unsure. I got up and flushed the toilet, washed my hands, and then brushed my teeth. Andrew then brushed his teeth and walked out right after kissing me. Hey, reminder, I'm pretty sure they're still 17. We've gotten, zero indication that they've aged at all. I smiled and turned on the shower. After I washed, I got out and changed. I grabbed my phone and sat on my bed. Me. Hi. Mia. Hi. Me. Hey, will you go to the store with me? Mia. Yeah, sure, but why do you need me to go with you? Me. I will tell you later. Mia. Okay. I sighed and stood up and walked out of my room. Hey, I'm going to go to the store, I said, opening the front door. Okay, bye, Andrew said from the kitchen. I drove to the store and saw Mia. Thanks for coming with me. I just don't want to do this alone, I said, walking in and going to a certain aisle. Mia saw what I got and smirked. So you might be Mia said, but I interrupted her. Yeah, I might. Not sure, I said, going to the restroom. Time skip. It's been a couple of months, and I still haven't told Andrew. I tried so many times, but either he had to go to work or he just wouldn't talk to me. He hasn't been talking to me or even touching me in a couple of months. A couple of months? You've been pregnant for a couple of months and your husband has been ignoring you in the same amount of time? Also, how long are we actually talking about? Because I know a couple usually means 2, right? So 2 months. But a lot of people don't usually mean 2 when they say a couple. You know that pregnancy usually starts to show around 3 to 4 months, right? I just sighed while laying on the bed that only held one person tonight again. I looked around the room and something caught my eye. I got up and moved the stuff that was covering the thing. I looked at it and picked it up and saw it was a little stuffed animal that was covered in red. I sniffed it and it smelled like blood. I dropped it and fell back on my butt. I stood up quickly while grabbing my shoes and jacket and putting them on. I drove to a place where I knew he would be and got out of the car. I walked in the house. Oh, please let me be wrong, I whispered to myself. I went to the well and climbed down. I walked to the place that somehow I remembered. Hey, wait, pause. 1, that's convenient that a stuffed animal covered in blood was just left in a spot where she could find it. 2, when the hell did she find the well? When did she learn it existed and that's where Pennywise lurks around? We, the audience, didn't see that in this story. I know she went over to his place the first time she found out about him, but I don't recall them going down the well. They were just in the house. When did the well and the lair come into play? The answer is it only exists now because it's convenient for the plot. Same with the stuffed animal. It was there because it was plot convenient. I walked in and looked around. I stood in the middle of it and looked up and let the tear down my face that was waiting from the beginning. I covered my mouth and began to cry even more. Why? You promised me, I yelled angrily. You promised me that you would not kill innocent children, I yelled and turned around and saw Andrew. But it wasn't the Andrew I immediately recognized. It was the clown he shapeshifts in. Pennywise the dancing clown. I really wish it had described what she was seeing and how she was feeling. You would only know what she was looking at if you've seen the movie. But if you didn't, you would have no idea what the fuck she was looking at. But, to explain, in Pennywise's lair, there's a massive pile of trash and kids' toys and shit. And at the top is just the bodies of dead children floating around. 'Cause that's what happens to them after he takes them. He feeds on their fare, and when they stare into the deadlights, they float. So her finding this could have been a pretty heartbreaking scene for her, and very dramatic. But no, of course not. Chapter 12. Goodbye. You dumbass, why did you do it? I yelled at him and walked over to him and began to hit his chest. You wouldn't understand, he said sadly. Are you kidding me? You think I wouldn't understand? I said angrily and sobbing at this point. It just wasn't enough. I needed more fear to feed on, he said. I just stepped away with no words to respond. Do you think it isn't hard to control my powers and how hard it is to not just destroy something or someone? And on top of all of that, living with someone that hates you and hurts you day and night, every single day because it is? I just don't go and do it because I wanted or needed to, I said. Okay, no, I hate this. These two things are not comparable. Her having a hard time controlling her powers isn't comparable to him needing to eat. This isn't just something he can choose. This is about survival. He needs to feed off fear to keep living. It also allows him to actually have a physical form. Without being able to sustain his power through feeding off fear, his physical form completely disappears from this plane of existence. I'm sorry, Andrew said sadly and walking closer to me while changed back into his regular form. Don't do the I'm sorry crap with me, I said angrily. If you were truly sorry, you wouldn't have done it, I said. I will never do it again, he said sadly. Yes, you will, I said looking down. No, I won't, he said. Another thing I've noticed is she reuses I said or he said a lot. There's no other, like, tone indicators for this, other than, like, maybe adding angrily at the end, like up there. You know, you could use she screamed, she yelled, he whimpered, like, things like that. You don't just gotta say he said. Holy crap, why am I just now noticing this? I said nothing and turned around and started walking. He went in front of me to try and stop me. Get out of the way, I yelled, and he flew to the side, hitting the wall. I'm going and never coming back. I'm moving out and changing my name back, I said, as a tear sliding down. I didn't even get to tell you something because you avoided me, and now I know that I can never trust you with it, I said sadly. Goodbye, Andrew, I said, walking out of the room, not looking back. I climbed back up the well and walked out of the house and went into the car. I drove to the house and packed everything I own and walked out of the house. I guess it's just me and you, little one, I said, looking down at my little baby bump. And that's where the story ends. Wow. Okay. There were 11 time skips total, if we're not counting all of the times the story just jumps ahead and skips a bunch of stuff. I don't actually think I have anything else to say about this. I'm pretty sure I covered most of what I thought throughout the actual story itself. But now that we are done with It's Love, we get to move on to It's Baby. There's only 3 chapters, not counting the character info chapter, so this should be done quick, and then we can take a look at the new version of It's Love. So, It's Baby. Info. Name, Elena Renee Parker, age 26, played by Madison McLaughlin. Name, Anna Rose Parker, age 7, played by Maya Irene Wada. Am I saying that right? Wada? Name, Andrew Liam Pennywise, age 26, played by Bill Skarsgård. And name, Mia Lillian Malono, age 26, and played by Danielle Campbell. So it's all basically the same, just added in Elena's daughter, Anna. Also, is it just me, or is the math wrong? If Anna is 7, then shouldn't the characters be 24? Or did the characters age in the last story and we were just never told that they aged? Because based on the ages the characters are now, Elena was 19 when she gave birth to Anna. But in the last story it said that the characters were 17, and we were given no real indication that the characters aged at all. I guess we could have assumed they were aging as they went through school, had prom, graduated, and all that jazz. But the other story was so rushed, I have a hard time putting together an actual timeline of things, when they are happening and how old the characters are in each part of the story. This is why we don't rush things, people. You just end up confusing the audience. Right now that's me, and I am confused. Chapter 1, The Red Balloon. Hi, my name is Anna. My whole name is Anna Rose Parker. I am 7 years old and my best friend is Georgie. My mama's name is Elena Renee Parker. Mama, can going to go outside and play? Anna asked, running down the stairs and into the kitchen. Yes, be careful. You can only play around the street. Don't go near the sewer gutter. Elena, that is Anna's mother, said. Okay, bye, Mama, Anna said, running out the door. So Elena stayed in Derry? Why? In the last chapter of It's Love, she said she was leaving, and I assumed she was leaving Derry because staying around Derry would mean there would be a chance of Pennywise seeing her pregnant and learning he has a child? It would have made more sense had Elena completely moved out of Derry, and then years later she hears from Mia that children and adults have been going missing again, and Elena knows it's Pennywise and decides to go back to stop him. That's another thing. Pennywise has to feed every 27 years, right? But this is only 7 years after the events of the first story, and now we're officially in the It story timeline. This is the first movie. Georgie is here. So not only are the ages off, the time frame is off too. It would have been so cool had Anna already grown up and was an adult during the events of the first movie, and now Elena is a middle-aged woman and worried about Pennywise killing these kids, but also now kind of worried about him finding out about their child, even though she's a grown adult now. Oh, and Anna not knowing about her parents' powers and the powers she probably inherited. Ugh, I'm getting ideas. I need to stop or I'm gonna write my own Pennywise XOC story, I swear to God. Anna met up with Georgie and played hide and seek. She ran behind a random tree and giggled when she peeked out around the tree and saw Georgie looking around. Georgie turned around and she immediately turned back around. She heard small little footsteps and suddenly someone tackling her. Anna laughed and got away from Georgie's grip. She heard a pop and turned her head towards a direction. She saw a popped balloon on the ground and then saw a red balloon next to it. Being the curious little girl she is, she walked to the red balloon. The red balloon flew into the sewer gutter and Anna bent down to look where it was. Suddenly, a clown with orangish red hair and bright blue eyes popped up. "Hello, Anna," the clown said in a creepy voice. "How do you know my name?" Anna asked. "I know everybody here," the clown said. "I bet you don't," Anna said. "Why do you think that?" the clown asked. "You probably don't know my mama's name," Anna said. The clown put his hand on his chin and thought, "I guess you are right. Who is your mom?" Knows Anna's name, but for some reason doesn't know that Elena is her mom. Logic. This is just a bad attempt at creating tension and drama. He doesn't know Anna is his daughter, so when he finds out, it's gonna be real dramatic. This is why Elena should have moved out of Derry before she started really showing in her pregnancy, because this doesn't make sense otherwise. How does Pennywise watch the town and know everyone, but doesn't know that this kid is his? "Before I answer that, what is your name?" Anna asked. "Pennywise the Dancing Clown," he said. Before Anna could say her mother's name, Georgie was calling her name. "Oh, I have to go. Bye, Pennywise," Anna said, running off and going to Georgie. Well, that was short. Anyways, chapter 2, Georgie. "How am I going to tell her?" Elena asked, looking at Mia. "I don't know," Mia said sadly. "He was her best friend and now he's dead," Elena said. "Poor Georgie, he didn't deserve this," Elena said sadly, looking at Anna playing on the living room floor with her dolls. Oh, so we just skipped ahead. Okay, I don't know how long it's been, but I'm gonna guess a few days or so. "Hey, Mama," Anna said, getting up. "Yeah, baby," Elena said, smiling. "I'm hungry." Mia and Elena laughed at Anna. "Okay, let's get you something to eat," Elena said, smiling gently. Oh god, since I've noticed the constant use of said, I can't unnotice it now, and it's bothering me. While Elena was making lunch, Mia walked over to Elena and whispered in her ear, and Elena sighed. "Hey, Anna," Elena said, setting Anna's sandwich in front of her. "Yeah," Anna said, picking up one half of the sandwich. "You know that Georgie hasn't been around for a while?" Elena said sadly. "Yeah, I know about it," Anna said, putting down her sandwich and starting to tear up. "Know about what exactly?" Elena said. "I know that Georgie is dead," Anna said, crying. Elena sighed and hugged Anna. "I'm so sorry, baby," Elena said, rubbing her back. "Hey, Mama," Anna said. "Yes, baby," Elena said, breaking the hug so she could look at her. Anna looked through the window and saw the clown from earlier. "Do you see what I see?" Anna asked, pointing at the window. Elena looked through the window and didn't see anything. "See what, baby?" Elena asked. "Oh, he isn't there anymore," Anna said, confused, and wiping her tears away. Well, the mystery of who Anna's mom is didn't last long, unless we are going to try and spin it like Pennywise didn't recognize Elena. You know, the person he married. Also, this kid is kind of creepy, and doesn't really talk like a child. That could just be because the author doesn't know how to write children, which is fair, but you could have used this to your advantage. Anna isn't exactly human, because her parents aren't human, especially Pennywise, the weird alien creature. So what if her behavior is always just a little bit off for a child? She knows things she shouldn't, she speaks very matter-of-factly, she just seems a little more aware than a child her age should be. But if you want her to act more like a child but aren't super sure how to write a child character, I have a suggestion. Read the Junie B. Jones books. The main character is 6 years old, so you could study how that author writes that character to try and get an idea of how to write your child character. I should read those books again. They were a fucking riot when I was a kid. Okay then. Hey, how about Aunt Mia take you out and get you some ice cream, Elena said, standing up and got money to give to Mia. Please do this. I need to figure something out, Elena said, whispering in her ear. Mia just nodded and smiled. Mia grabbed Anna's hand and walked out of the house. Elena turned around and looked out the window. This better not be Andrew, Elena said, grabbing her car keys and walking out of the house. Chapter 3. Meeting Friends. Elena drove to the old house that her ex-husband Andrew lives in. She opens the door angrily and walks in. "Leave her alone," she yelled in the house. "Leave who alone?" Andrew said, leaning against the doorway. "The little girl that you were stalking," Elena said angrily. She just sighed and walked out and got into her car. Girl, you can't just barge into people's homes, even if Pennywise is an evil child-eating clown man. And again, I really wish there was more build-up to stuff like this. This is all going by so quickly. Again! Time skip to the next day. First time skip of the story. Joyous day. Anna Rose Parker, come here right now, Elena said, catching herself for not saying Pennywise. Yeah, Mama? Anna said, walking to the kitchen. She was wearing a Mickey and Minnie Mouse shirt, gray skirt, white shoes, and a Minnie Mouse bag on her. I don't see why she would have a hard time not calling her child Anna Rose Pennywise, when that was never her name. And Elena and Pennywise were only married for like less than a year, so it wasn't even Elena's name for long. Maybe this is hinting at some attachment Elena still has to Pennywise, but who knows. You are going to be late for your last day of school. Come on, you can eat a granola bar in the car, Elena said, handing Anna her backpack and granola bar. Elena dropped Anna off and drove away. Anna looked at her elementary school and sighed. Another day without Georgie, Anna said, walking to the front doors of the school. She goes in and goes into her class. After a couple of hours, they finally went to lunch and then recess. Anna runs to a swing and gets on. She starts swinging on it. Anna looks around the playground, and her eye caught a red balloon that looked like the one before. She gets off the swing and walks towards it. When she is right in front of it and is about to touch it, the balloon moves away farther from her. She follows the balloon as it floats away from her. Anna stops when she sees the clown from earlier holding the balloon and is right in front of her. Hello, Anna. Last time I got to speak to you, you didn't tell me your mama's name, the clown says. Well, Mama says that I shouldn't talk to strangers, Anna said. Your mama is very smart then, the clown said. Why can't the others see you? Anna says, looking over her shoulder to look at the other kids playing and not noticing the tall clown and the small little girl. Well, some of them don't have the imagination to see me, I guess, the clown said. Your name is Pennywise, right? Anna said, looking back at him straight into his bright blue eyes. Yes, he said. Your real name is Andrew, isn't it? Anna said, seeing his eyes grow wide. See? She's creepy. She knows things she shouldn't. Also, I can tell that the author is trying to lengthen the story she writes and add more detail, but she's adding in details wrong. To add length, all she's doing is repeating herself and adding in a lot of and then type sentences. She's explaining things like we're kindergartners that don't have any reading comprehension skills and need everything literally spelled out for us. I'm gonna try and rewrite a section of this. Anna looks around, watching as the other children play, when a red balloon catches her eye. It looks just like the one from before, when she was playing with Georgie and she met that strange clown. She hops off the swing, making her way towards the balloon. When it's within arm's length, she reaches out to touch it, only for it to float away from her. Curious, she follows the balloon further and further away from the playground. You might want to try and get some beta readers to go over your stories before you post them, so you don't have so many inconsistencies and weird sentences. And to correct all your spelling mistakes, because I've seen a few. Before he could say anything, a boy walked over to Anna and pushed her to the ground. Hey, what was that for? Anna said loudly to the boy. You are a freak, talking to yourself and all, the boy said. Anna got right back up and glared at the boy. Suddenly, the boy flew backwards like someone threw him like a football. Anna looked at the boy with wide eyes, with fear that you can clearly see in them. I'm sorry, Anna said with tears, waiting for her to blink so they could fall. She backs up slowly and starts to sprint out of the playground and away from the school. She continues to run until she got to her house. She was about to open it, but decided not to. Anna went into the woods and went near a stream and decided to mess around in the water, making her legs and shoes wet. She suddenly heard yelling and saw a boy running away from a bunch of other boys. She turned around and saw other people behind her. They grabbed her and put her behind them. They then decided to throw rocks, and after a while they finally stopped. The only girl in the group that is left went to her and bent a little so she was eye level. "Hey, what's your name, little one?" she asked with a soft voice. "My name is Anna Parker," Anna said. "Hello, Anna. My name is Beverly Marsh, and that is Bill, Ben, Richie, Eddie, Mike, and Stanley," Beverly said sweetly. Anna smiled at the group and was glad she met new friends. You'd think Bill would know who Anna is. She was friends with his brother after all, and I'm sure he's met her at least once or twice. And we're back to rushing things again. This last bit moved so fast! Also, I see that Anna does indeed have her mother's powers. I just wonder if she also has inherited anything from Pennywise. But we'll never know, because this is the end of the story. It was published in 2018, and the story hasn't been touched since. Now, as I said at the start, she did start a new version of It's Love in 2020, but there's only one chapter that's only 125 words long, and I guess I'll read that real quick. This video isn't as long as I thought it was going to be. Prologue. Moving to a new place is hard, especially when it's across the country and everything there is so odd. Derry is the place I moved to. Children go missing randomly and no one ever stops to notice. Well, they do. But after a couple of days, the missing child is forgotten like the rest of the children before them. Now, I guess odd wouldn't be the correct word for it. More like dark. Darkness always seems to follow me around. I never really understood why, and I still don't. Maybe it's because I am a part of the darkness. Everything that surrounds me is darkness, and in darkness comes lies. Lies about who I am, and what I am. My life, my loved ones. It's all lies. Which, as a prologue chapter, I don't like this because it's so short. But this would work really well as the actual description of the story. It's a lot more interesting than the actual description for the story. And from this small little bit, I can see some improvement in the writing. But I'd only be able to get a grasp of how much the writing has improved by reading one of her most recent stories. Which the most recent is a My Hero fanfiction, but the description says that it's supposed to be written poorly, so looking at that would be pointless. Overall, both of these stories are a mess. They're rushed, the grammar isn't that good, there's spelling errors everywhere, the disrespectful and disgusting depictions of abuse and sexual assault make me all sorts of pissed off, and the mischaracterization of Pennywise really gets on my nerves. She really should have just wrote an original story with a character that was based off Pennywise rather than using Pennywise himself, because this was just a mess. And now I don't even know if this story was supposed to be a joke or not. The author seemed pretty open about disclosing if her stories are supposed to be written terribly or not, and this one doesn't have that kind of disclaimer, so I assume it's supposed to be serious, but I don't know. And honestly, if this was written to be a joke, then we've got to have some more words, because including sexual assault in a joke story is even more disrespectful than just writing these themes in a flippant manner. But that is it for this video. I hope you enjoyed. If you like my content and want to support me, check out my Ko-fi and Threadless where I sell shit. Also check out all my other social medias, DeviantArt, Blue Sky, Instagram, Wattpad, Unveil, and Artfight. And don't forget to like, comment, and share, and subscribe if you are new. I'm UG, and I will see you in the next video. Man, if John ever finds out I read this story again, he's gonna be so upset with me.